And welcome to Rune Recaps, Rune Reviews. This time we are tackling Justice League. I usually don't do these alone. Today is no exception. To the left, to the right of me, I got my homeboy Fiq Blurman. What's good with you, Fiq?
What's good? What's good? What's good? It's your boy Fiq. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to burp. I had a whole rock impression coming.
Oh, great.
And to the
Yep.
other
All right.
side,
There we go.
to the other side of me, I got my girl Rae. What's good?
Hey, guys. I'm excited to talk about Justice League. Because,
Are you?
this is just one more movie closer to Black Panther.
You don't sound excited.
Listen, this is the thing. We'll talk.
So we're gonna give the rundown for Justice League. So Rae, if you could give the rundown for Justice League.
Fueled by his restored faith in humanity and inspired by Superman's selfless act, Bruce Wayne enlists the help of his newfound ally, Diana Prince, to face a greater enemy. It was directed by Zack Snyder. It was written by Chris Terrio. Screenplay by Joss Whedon and some other people. Do you want me to read the stars?
The amount of energy you're putting into this reading is so appropriate for what this movie was. You sound bored and unfocused.
Is it that bad? Should I pep it up a little bit? I feel like
No, because I think it's appropriate. I think you should not give this movie any more effort than it gave us.
I'm sorry. Okay, so, wait.
Know your
words. The stars are Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, and then the guy who played Flash and the guy who played Cyborg. Because come on.
Okay. Yeah, Ray Fisher and Ezra Miller.
That's right. It just didn't come up on the screen, so sorry, guys.
All good. So what we're gonna do is go around the room and give our initial thoughts. And I'll start with Rae, since she's just a ball of energy right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. I had to go see Justice League twice because the first time. For you. Well, this is what happened. The first time I fell asleep. And so I woke up in enough time to see the important things. I woke up in time to see Jason Momoa, especially when he stepped out into the lake and took his shirt off. Saw that whole thing. I saw a little bit to Cyborg.
By the way, so unnecessary.
No,
so fucking unnecessary.
It was the perfect thing at the perfect time. And this is the funny thing. I woke up maybe 2 minutes before it happened, so I had like perfect timing. Let's see what else. I woke up in enough time to kind of catch a little bit of Cyborg's backstory, and then I woke up when they were all together to go feed the big bad. So then, realizing that wasn't enough of the movie to actually review it and be fair to it, I had to go and see it again.
So the second time, what did you think of it?
I caught everything when I was asleep. Everything, I got it all.
You didn't miss much.
Nah.
While napping.
Yeah, my friend went to the bathroom for a whole 5 minutes. She came back, and literally that was the end of a scene. Nothing happened. So,
yeah. Oh, what about you, Fiq? What were your initial thoughts?
This was an entertainingly bad movie. There's a Tyler Perry quality to this movie.
Tyler.
Do you kind of see it? It's like
go on.
Aside from the dialogue being of quality and the character interactions being pretty good, the mistakes and the sloppiness and the nonsensical stuff and the just general lack of quality in the movie as a whole.
Yeah.
It feels like a Tyler Perry movie. If Tyler Perry knew how to write witty dialogue and banter.
They had one really good funny moment.
They had a couple. They had one awesome. I think the best moment of the movie. So there's a couple of awesome moments. Mm-hmm. Literally like maybe two. It's a couple of cute moments. Some pretty good performances from everybody except for Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And there's this a shit ton of like bad ideas, poor execution, just hacked to pieces. I give them props. This feels more like a movie than Batman versus Superman. And this had way more this had two directors, a billion reshoots, a complete re-edit and touch up from the screen and color, in terms of like the color and lighting. So this had way more of a mess behind the production, and somehow ended up feeling more like a real movie than Batman versus Superman, which felt like some weird fan fiction YouTube video. So,
that's interesting. I wasn't as hard on it as you guys. I felt like there was some course correction going on there.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Yeah.
And that it was not as bad as Suicide Squad. I won't put it to
I'm
that.
not sure about that.
Well, I will give it the standout moments that it had were infinitely better than what they had with Suicide Squad.
I think that it was definitely better than Suicide Squad.
But the lows of this are infinitely lower than Suicide Squad. So I don't know. I put them what at this point. I have to maybe watch Suicide Squad again and then watch this again.
Keep going, Aaron.
But go ahead.
It was definitely better than Batman versus Superman. And to tell you the truth, in hindsight, I would say Wonder Woman is just a little bit better, because Wonder Woman, now that I went back and watched it again, had some flaws. Had a
lot of flaws. That's what I was saying from way back when.
Yeah, and I'll give you that.
But it's still way better than both of those movies.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman is still a solid B-, C+ at worst, compared to this, which is a D+ at best, in my opinion. But we'll come back to that.
What I'll say is this: I still believe that the moments where the Justice League were the Justice League, as far as talking to each other and those interactions, give me a movie of that, because what they gave us was a mixed bag of everything. It's like you could tell the studio went in and was like, nope, can't do that. Nope, can't do that. Nope, can't do that. Because it was just everywhere.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I almost feel like the studio secretly were like happy, and God rest the dead, and I pray for the man and his family, anybody lose a child. But I have to feel like the studio felt like they caught a lucky situation to have Snyder have to leave the production the way he did, because they clearly mutilated his movie and his vision. And you can see the chunks, the Frankenstein stitches between his movie and whatever Joss Whedon did. And I don't know what is left of his movie. It's definitely nothing left of his Superman. And we'll get to why I know that in the spoiler. Oh, shit. Was that a spoiler in and of itself?
No. Well, I mean, no, he's in the fucking poster.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they mutilated this thing.
What'd you say, Ray?
Oh, I didn't say anything. I was just agreeing.
Yeah, man. So I'll say this. I like the things they did with Superman. And
yes.
I mean, that if that's a spoiler, it's a minor one. Superman is in this movie. And I feel like
repeat that though. Superman is in this movie, not Zack Snyder's weird football. Okay, go ahead.
Into that. It shows the transition and growth of Superman. I think, and I don't know if I want to give Snyder this much credit, but if you watch the 3 movies that Superman was in, the first one was him trying to figure out if he wanted to be Superman. Second one was like, yeah, I still don't know how to handle it. And this felt like, okay, this is the Superman. I'm confident. I'm Superman. You know, like the corny jokes and things like that. Like, it felt like he was confident in being Superman finally. So if Snyder has something to do with that, hey,
I doubt it. I doubt it.
But if you watch those 3 movies, that's the arc.
So is it fair to call it an arc, because there's no, how did he get where he is now? What brought him there? He died in the last movie. He comes back to life in this movie, and he's just like, and it's like I compared to me, Superman came off like a football player with CTE, the first 2 movies, and there's no cure for CTE, but basically he was cured of it this movie, and suddenly he's not a somber, brooding, sad sack person. He's the Superman that we really should have been getting. Like, if they'd have started with this depiction of Superman from jump, a awesome guy with superpowers that just wants to make the world a better place, smiles, has a pinch of arrogance in his movement. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't murder or threaten to murder people. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things that were wrong with the last two Supermans. This Superman pops up. He has 5 minutes with his mom and Lois, and like it almost feels like I feel like this is gonna sound bad, but I feel like Lois, maybe like the way they depicted is Lois gave him some loving like right before he left, and he was just in a really good mood going into battle. That's the only thing that could explain how different his personality is. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a completely different character.
I won't disagree. But I still think that was kind of the arc. You know what I'm saying?
But see, the arc has to show a trend. There has to be, like, what is the inciting incident? Is it dying? Is dying the thing that tells him, okay, this is okay? But that's stupid.
I can say that. Well, I mean, this is Zack Snyder we're talking about here. Let's not act like he has the wittiest things.
But I don't think it was Zack Snyder. I think Zack Snyder probably had. I think, and you can tell by some of the old releases, Zack Snyder had a completely different idea as to how to do this, because there was the image of him in the black Superman suit with the mullet. You know what I'm saying? That was what Zack Snyder was going to do more Death of Superman stuff. The scene where I don't know, we getting into spoilers. We'll leave it at that. Leave it at that. We'll deep dive on my theory here in a second, because I've done a little reading myself. Right?
Yeah. What about Cyborg? Anybody have any thoughts about Cyborg?
So aside from Batman, I fucks with everybody long ways. I was afraid because I didn't know who the actor that was playing Cyborg was. I saw a picture of him and he just kind of looked like a guy that would have been on Barney. So I was like, oh, this is probably going to be really corny. They're probably going to kind of depict the cartoon Cyborg, which is always kind of over the top, black guy, booyah. You know, and they gave him a booyah at the end of the movie, but it worked. But he was great. He really nailed his performance. I don't know enough about Cyborg to know how much of that is effective to the character in the comics, but I was completely convinced of him in the film. Same thing with everybody else.
What about you, Ray?
Cyborg deserves his own Origins movie, and I think that they need to chill with all this Justice League shit to give everybody their own movie. Because I would go and see the only criticism I really had of Cyborg was that I felt like he was just a little too much machine. You know?
Yeah, but that was that bad. Ooh, that CGI. Ooh, that was.
Yeah, the CGI. It made me feel like I was like playing the Xbox 360 game. But like it was too much machine, and since the CGI wasn't that great, I was just kind of like, he looks dumb. But I think that the biggest issue to me with Justice League, and I think the reason why I fell asleep on it initially, is the fact that the whole first act of the movie is us having to get to know people that if they would have done their own movie before, we would already know. And so they were shoving this big complex story of, you know, how he became Cyborg and him struggling. Oh, wait. Yeah, let me back down a little bit. You know, with him being Cyborg and all the things that come with it. And it was just like, it was too much in the beginning of the movie. So the whole first act of the movie is us getting to know the people. Meanwhile, the bad guy is literally running around like Lucky the Leprechaun.
Chilling. Just breaking down the Amazons, breaking down the freaking Atlanteans, no challenge. Hey, in his somebody said, I can't remember where I got this from, but the Scorpion King 1999, The Rock Scorpion King CGI.
Yes,
he looked
awful.
Fucking horrible. I could
awful.
not believe it.
Yeah,
I could not believe it.
Superman CGI.
Oh, wait. I don't want to talk about that yet. I want to say that to the spoiler.
Okay, but yeah, like it was just like they were trying so hard to get us to, okay, this is where we are now, and it's like, okay, so we have to go and meet 2 to 3 more characters, understand their story, and then care enough about them to go into battle. And it was the same thing. It was the same thing as Suicide Squad. You know.
So, weirdly, that was my favorite part of the movie. Parts of the movie was their, you know, their banter, the things I'm pretty sure Joss Whedon did more of.
Yeah. See, but the thing is that I feel like their banter was good, but as far as the overall movie, it wasn't fit for the caliber of Justice League.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I'm really kind of upset about. This is the fucking Justice League.
Yeah.
Three of the most popular superheroes of all time: Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman.
Fine
of all
ass
time.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah. The studio made a rule, like they forced them to keep the movie under 2 hours.
Yeah.
This is another thing that probably affected how all that flowed. This movie is just, it's amazing. It's so interesting to me.
If they were going to add another 45 minutes onto the movie, because that's what I heard, that it was about 2 hours and 40 minutes or something like that. Is that true or false?
Probably.
If you're going to add another 40 minutes, y'all might as well give us another hour and a half movie and figure out a way to introduce us to them or something.
So
don't have
that
me
was
in there for 3
the plan.
hours for 2 different fucking movies.
I'm gonna deep dive into y'all gotta, you know, if you don't feel like going to read this elsewhere, I'm gonna deep dive into like the lore of the production of this movie. It's so interesting. I could not wait for the spoiler review because I just want to talk about this.
I'm excited
because to me it's fascinating, the behind the scenes stuff on this movie being made, because there's an explanation for all of that.
All of this sounds way more interesting than the movie, just so you know.
Yeah. Can we talk about Batman and how awful he was?
You know what? I didn't mind Batman.
You're wildin', son.
Really?
He was awful. He was awful in every way that he was pretty cool in the first one. It was the only thing that did not make me pain, except for, of course, shooting people, which I don't blame fully on him. But in the same way that I felt like Batman was good and they had finally nailed some parts of the character that nobody else had done, he was the complete inverse of that. This movie, he looked weird, both in the Batman suit and in his normal clothes. He looked like he was wearing his dad's suits, like to Easter. You know how you get like your 9-year-old nephew, he got to wear a 16-year-old brother suit to Easter Sunday. That's what he looked like. Ben Affleck seemed bored and angry that he was still there. You can tell he was like over the whole thing while he was in production and in whatever research they were in. In the actual Batman suit, he looked fucking horrible. It looked so bad, but I know that there's a deeper part to that. The fighting that he did so well in that one scene, from Batman vs Superman was completely gone. Like his action beats, his moments of action did not work. He seemed slow and old, which I guess is part of, you know, this Batman is supposed to be older. He wasn't intimidating at all. It's just so wrong. It's everything wrong. Everything that you could have done wrong with depicting Batman and as a character in a movie, they did completely. Worst Batman ever. I'm saying that now. Worse than Clooney, worse than Val Kilmer, worst Batman ever. Maybe not worse than Clooney. Let me pull back a little bit.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But still,
sheesh.
at least bottom 2 Batman ever.
I disagree. I mean, I don't have as hard an argument because you have obviously thought about this. But I just didn't mind him as Batman. I know they were trying to lighten him up. I think they were trying to go more towards the Bruce Timm animated series Batman, where, you know, he smiled every now and then, and things like that. Like I didn't mind it. Like I didn't think it was his best performance. Batman vs Superman.
I don't think that he was any better or worse than the entire movie either way.
Yeah, I mean, you take him out the movie.
He didn't take anything away from the movie.
Yeah, he didn't. He definitely didn't take anything away from it.
Yeah, but that's not saying much.
Yeah, awesome.
So the last thing I want to talk about, and then we're gonna get into our. If you're a Patreon member, you're gonna get a spoiler cast coming out today as well. We got to talk about this mustache, dog.
No. Y'all gotta pony up for the mustache talk. I got so much to say. y'all gotta come through with a Patreon donation for the mustache talk, because that's spoilers. A lot of people don't know, because I didn't know. I had to go and Google and figure out what was going on with that.
Instead of just asking me like, what happened? Like,
did you not get that message I sent during the movie?
Mm-mm.
I sent you a message during the movie, like, what's up with his face?
Oh shit!
So we'll let that linger. You have to wait to, something else. I do want to talk about Momoa and Flash.
Oh yeah, I mean,
so I really fucks with Momoa's and this depiction of Aquaman as kind of a brazen punk prince.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed that. I don't know much about Aquaman. A handful of times I've seen him, I still haven't been interested. But this was dope. I'm looking forward to his movie, depending on what they do there. Flash as a on the autistic spectrum millennial guy that was probably like hanging out on Reddit and watching hentai tentacle stuff. I fucks with that to an extent. Him being kind of a weirdo. He was some people I think were annoyed by him, but I wasn't annoyed by him. I liked him.
I just don't think that his jokes landed. I would also like to say that I too enjoyed Jason Momoa. His performance was excellent. I was interested though when they were there was a moment in the movie when they were in Atlantis. I did realize that I don't think that I would want an Aquaman movie though, because fighting underwater does not look that compelling.
Well, guess what?
That is true.
I was watching. I was like, "Oh joy, we're about to fight in Atlantis," and then it was like,
it just seemed kind of awkward.
This can end.
You know what? Those effects were done months ago. So the movie that we're gonna get will probably have way better visual effects.
Yeah, okay.
I was bothered by the logistics of it all. Really, it was my thing because it has to move slightly slower. It just seemed dumb. I don't know.
Well, there's some spoilers involved where they did move the water out of the way. So
right. Who's playing Black Manta again? Was it Michael B. Jordan? It was somebody dope. Chiwetel Ejiofor?
I don't know.
We'll have to look.
I feel like somebody we fuck with got cast for Black Mamba. Is it Black Mantis?
Black Manta.
Black Manta. Let me Google that real quick.
I'm actually doing it right now.
Fact check number 1.
So what we got left? That's it. I think that's all before we get into this deep dive, because I have so many words for this movie in the spoiler zone. Oh, we haven't talked about Wonder Woman.
I mean, she was great. She was
dope.
Yeah, she was best parts of the film.
I still don't think she's as great as other people make her out to be, but I don't see her as a weak link as I thought I would going into all this.
I am getting Yahya Abdul Mateen.
Who was that?
I'm about to look. He was in the Get Down. That I do know. Need to see his face though.
Yeah, it looks like he could be intimidating. Looks familiar.
You know what? He played the one guy. Did you watch the Get Down?
No.
Oh, well, he played kind of a bad guy in the Get Down. So yeah, that's gonna be exciting. He's fine too. I can't wait to see that movie. Mm-hmm.
You just said you didn't want to see Aquaman movie.
I would go see it if he in it.
But no,
him and Jason Momoa.
Him and Jason Momoa.
Yeah, no, I think that if
it's a water battle,
I could be promised better CGI, I would go and see it. I just realized when I was watching that fight scene that this wasn't going to be exciting. So they're going to have to do a lot of stuff on land and not a whole lot in Atlantis, which doesn't make sense. Or the CGI is going to have to get better, because it's like sitting and watching you ever watched a Japanese fighting fish fight another fish?
No.
Yeah, it's terrifying. But it's just like listening to that. It's not intense. It's not scary. It's just kind of
you hear the craziness. What you're looking at is like Care Bears live action movie.
Yeah, it's like it's not even scary.
So if you want to learn more about how bad the CGI is and why it was so bad, you go ahead and pony up that $3 is all they need for the premium content, or is it $5 for premium content?
It's 10.
Oh, $10 premium content, bro.
Not gonna
got
the park. See,
it's definitely worth it. You talking about 500 some odd shows at this point, probably more.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's all I got.
Well, we got to rate it.
Oh, so first I have to retroactively take my Batman vs Superman score down to a 0.7 out of 5, so that I can appropriately give this a 2.3 out of 5. And I think that's being really friendly.
I'm gonna give it a 3. Thought it was average.
I'm gonna give it a 2.75 because I just can't.
Anybody add that up, or we?
Oh, was I supposed to do that? I'm sorry.
That sounds like a 2.5.
Yeah, it sounds like a 5. Like, go see it.
It literally sounds exactly like a 2.5.
So,
I mean, nobody's in the theater right now, so you could probably go.
This is on my scale of how much would I pay for it. I would catch it on a matinee again, like I did the second time. I paid full price the first time just because, it had to happen. But I would go. It's not worth 3D, not worth IMAX.
No.
Pay $8. Pay $8 and then skip and go see something else.
Yeah. My sister called up and was like, "Hey, you said the Batman vs Superman movie wasn't all that good." I was like, "No, not really." She's like, "What about Thor?" I'm like, "Y'all ain't seen Thor yet? They could go see Thor."
Yeah, that's what you can do. You can go and catch parts of Justice League until you can hop into Thor for the cheap.
Right.
Bring your 3D glasses that you stole last time so you can watch it in 3D IMAX for the free. Do that.
So, this has been another Room Recaps, Room Reviews. This time for Justice League. Until next time, y'all. We out.
Peace.
Peace.
What was that? 30 minutes?
Let us see.
Like
26,
like,
27.
All right.